But yeah, it was a fun night to be a Chiefs fan and eat really good chili and good buffalo chicken dip, I guess is what you call it. So it was a fun night, but yeah, back at it. Obviously coming off a game that we didn't play very well down the stretch. I thought we did a lot of really good things throughout. Really didn't mind our shots, but I didn't. We had no stop. We had no ability to stop them defensively. I think they scored 9 out of 10 possessions. We're making a lot of. We were making a lot of mistakes. We did make a lot of mistakes just in simple scouting report stuff, and then simple fundamental things that we do. We are very proficient on the offensive end. I think we're 5 in the country. And it's a very, very full sense of reality that you can rely on that to win you games when it counts. And we have to become better defensively. We're soft. We were very soft. We committed 3 and 1s in the last 3.5 minutes. When you're committing and 1 fouls, that means you're very passive and not very aggressive, and I didn't like that very much. So we've addressed that. We got a group that's very mature in the locker room. They understand. They have a very high care factor, and they know they feel like we let one get away. And you know, as when you're up 8 with 7 to go and on the road, you want to be able to close that game out. Just as we went the other way at Ohio State, up 8 and turned it into a 15-point game. And as we've you know, as we've done, you know, at Ann Arbor the first time we played Michigan, and we just didn't do it in this game. So, you know, now we turn to a Michigan team that beat Wisconsin at home and played very good, and then you know, coming off a game that wasn't their best at Nebraska, but ran into really a buzzsaw. Nebraska played great, and you know, this is a talented Michigan team. Obviously, to beat Wisconsin, they've proven their talent level, and we're going to have to be good. They're one of the top offensive rebounding teams in the Big Ten, if not the top right now. Get about 13 a game. We can't give them easy baskets. Obviously, Taurus Reed and Olivier create some issues, and then Llewellyn has been absolutely phenomenal in his starting role. So he's been really one of their best players. So expect a hard game, and we got to play much better and much tougher than we did the other night.
Coach, what are some of those specific things you're seeing defensively, both in mistakes and in the kind of game planning and strategy?
Not that. I mean, why can we do it for 85 minutes or for 35 minutes and not do it for the last 5? You know, just a simple. We had a great plan on Malik Hall. We've been getting beat, and I'm not going to go into a lot of things. You know, I want our opponents to know, but you know, just simply, you know, guard the ball. We haven't done a very good job of that, but you know, we fronted Malik most of the time. They have Michigan State has no 5 men who can shoot a shot outside of 2 feet. So Coleman's playing soft. He's there for support, and yet we let Malik catch it. That can't happen. You know, so it's one of those things we got to get cleaned up. And it wasn't just those situations. There was a couple others, but and then the and 1 fouls. You know, that's just being soft.
But it feels like after a couple, like the Northwestern loss, that loss, you talked about like blowing switches defensively, but on the other hand, like that's been such an effective defense for you that the 5 ways. So like, is there a balance to?
It actually has not been very effective.
Okay.
The numbers will show quite the contrary, that it has not been. We utilized that. It was something we went to with TJ out. Because it basically put Coleman in a situation, who's our best defender, to guard the ball. But the numbers show that it has not been. And you know, we didn't go to it. You know, we're still switching some perimeter stuff, but this didn't have anything to do with the switch. We blew one switch, which Malik Hall hit a three, and TJ got hung up on a being physical on that play. So it wasn't that.
Terrence had 28 against Michigan State. He's averaged 23 over the last 3 games. What have you seen from him that started to work again, maybe? And is it safe to say he's back up to full speed?
I think he's up to full speed. I had no idea that many points. We ran 2 or 3 actions to him. When Terrence is at his best, he scores organically. He scores within the flow of the game. He scores in easy opportunities. The one thing I'm ecstatic about with him was he got on the offensive glass. He got 4 points on offensive rebounds. There's a whole nother level of offensive production for Terrence on the glass, and I think he was 88th going into it in Big Ten play in offensive rebounding. At 6'6", 220, that's not great, and yet you talk to him about it, and he made a pointed effort to go, and he got some easy baskets. So, but I think he's in a great place, and I think he's finding his opportunities when they're there.
Anything notable about Michigan without Doug McDaniel?
Well, it's playing great. I mean, they're playing. He plays a lot of minutes. Namari Burnett's coming in, and he's kind of been a backup point guard when Llewellyn's out. He's been really solid. I think that they maybe lose a little speed and quickness, but I don't see much difference. They're running the same stuff. And Llewellyn's just been a guy who's fit right in and really hasn't missed a beat, in my opinion.
You mentioned maybe having a false sense of reality with a top 5 offense. Have you seen that seeping in defensively? Where Marcus said something Saturday where they get caught up and you're trying to execute an offense and maybe don't do that enough defensively.
Yeah, and I think I have to watch for that, and trying to make offensive substitutions to keep spacing and to keep guys in position so that we can stay effective, and maybe I have to shift a little bit and be more conscious defensively. We have guys who can guard multiple positions. I think we were as high as 7. I think we're 9 maybe one time defensively. We're 40 now. It's not like we're horrible, but it's again, we've got to create a desire when the game's on the line to get stops, and we have to do that.
What was the message to Luke? It seemed like late in the game he was getting frustrated defensively about what he was being asked to do or not being able to do.
Yeah, I got to help him. We got to create. Everybody's trying to put him in situations and isolations, and we got to try to help that. We need him offensively. He's very good. It's not just him, but everybody's physically gives up some size when he's guarding 4s, and I got to do a better job of trying to help him and put him in situations to be successful.
Coach, seems like how coaches elect to guard ball screens is having a huge effect on games all around the conference and the country. And what does the analytics tell you as far as what's most effective and what's not?
We're 1 or 2 in the Big Ten in ball screen coverage. We're very good in that. That is one of the things that we have been very good at in our time here. It's why we do it. It's why we play it the way we play it. We've maybe not seen as much of them, outside of Northwestern as we've seen. Nebraska doesn't ball screen hardly at all, and to be honest, Michigan State doesn't either. There's very few of them in those games, but it's every game's got its own identity. Every coverage is different. We're able to do some things with Coleman that a lot of teams can't, but yet it's one of the things we've been really good at. I think we're 18th in the country maybe in our ball screen defense. So I think one of the analytics we feel great about.
Obviously, in your last matchup in Ann Arbor, Coleman had a big impact defensively. I know he's if not your best defender, one of your best. Is it possible to ask more out of him on that end of the floor
Yeah,
than you are?
absolutely, absolutely. You know, you guys know me by now, I'm never satisfied. There's always another place to get to, and you know, Coleman's value is not just what he does physically, it's the mental, his ability to make the calls, his ability to help the perimeter defenders. He knows the perfect time to make ball screen calls so that they can adjust. That's an art to that. You know, that's not an easy thing to do. He knows exactly when to help. He's very, very good at that. Does he have to protect the rim better? Yeah, absolutely. And he picked up a second foul, and one that he knows better than. You know, he just stayed on the ground. He was vertical, but he stayed on the ground. New rule says you've got to go vertical. You've got to jump. And if he jumps, he doesn't commit the second foul. And obviously, he got a technical, which counted as a foul, and that was a huge impact in the game. We go from up 8 to down, you know, or up 8 or so to down 8 very quickly with him out.
What was the messaging or conversations with Ty? And was everything you were looking for, you would have been looking for more out of him down this stretch at Michigan State?
No, Ty played really well. I should have probably played him. I think the one thing I found was we had a good thing going offensively with spacing. You know, spacing changes a little bit in what we're doing with Ty in terms of different positions because it creates different matchups as teams cross matches. You know, we liked what we were getting with Coleman. We liked what we were getting, you know, with Marcus. Unfortunately, we missed a couple layups off drives, and Coleman missed one. But the looks are great, and you know, Ty had a dunk that they went up through the bottom of the rim and didn't call. But he's playing great. Ty's playing really well on the offensive end, and we got to get him back guarding and being the presence that we know he can be on the defensive side.
Yes, from an offensive standpoint, nationally, I think offensive efficiency is at least trending to be the highest it's been since people started paying attention to that. And just what do you feel has maybe led to that? Both, I mean, obviously for your team, and then maybe kind of across the board.
Well, there's a lot of factors that go into that. You know, I think pace of play. I think this league's playing fast. I think this league's a good free throw shooting team for the league. I think we've shown that. I think offensive rebounding all plays into it. There's so many factors that go into offensive efficiency, and you know, I think we've seen officiating and the rules that we have today impact that with the charge block and some of the fouls. But you know, I think we've got a group of coaches who understand offense and what you know, the game's ultimately trending toward the NBA game. No matter what we want to think, or we wish we played by their rules instead of the ones we have. But yeah, it's a challenge to stop people sometimes. And I think we've got some of the best guards in this league that we've had in some time as well, from top to bottom. I think everybody's guard play's been really, really good.
A lot of possession games late. What are some of those late game points that you've made to your team, and you know how to close games out in
Which one?
the
Okay.
Nebraska, Michigan State?
So what about Ohio State? What about we close those out? I mean, if you're going to nitpick on one or two, then nitpick on the good ones too. You know, talk about those, because you want to make a story. We turn the ball over. Look at the shots we get. Go back and pull the film. I'll be glad to go over the film with you. What shot didn't you like? We turned it over twice. We didn't lose the Nebraska game. You know, we're fifth in the country in offense. I'm not gonna find a problem with offense. We didn't lose the game because we turned the ball over. We lost the ball because we didn't stop them 9 out of 10 possessions.
Right. 2 out of 3 of the rematch games this season have gone direction of the opposing team. Is there something that makes playing or coaching in a rematch game difficult when you've won the first game of that season series?
Every game's got its own identity, I think. Everything's, you know, home courts. I mean, was there a better environment than East Lansing, that might be the best environment I've been in since maybe Maryland. Best environment I've been in since I've been in the league. That place was electric. Emotions. It was their reunion game. They've got all their big guys there, and then Michigan is a different deal. I think it's just really hard. You got to be really good to go win on the road. You've got to match the emotion, match the intensity. And that's what makes this league so good. There's no day off. You're not finding a bottom 250 team anywhere in this league. You're finding a team that's really, really good with really good players and really good coaches and environments that are just electric. And we've got to match that on. We've got to find a way on Tuesday, 6 o'clock to be great. They'll be amped because they lost, and teams always seem to play with a little better edge when they've got a loss.
What'd you like about Coleman and that booty ball role, and what can that do for you guys long-term big picture?
Well, I think it's the first time we've really taken advantage of smaller guards on him, and teams want to put bigs on Ty, or they cross-match like they did. They put Sissoko on Quincy, and then Malik on Marcus to try to put size on him. Then we just found the option, and Coleman was really, really effective in there. His ability to pass. He had a really bad turnover, which he can't make on a no-look pass, which was he understands. But his effectiveness down there is, we want him to get fouled more. I want him to get fouled down there. But he's a really good ball handler in terms of being able to play in those spaces, and then he's got great feet. So, and then he shot a little fadeaway where he can just jump over people. So it's been a nice thing to have. He's worked really hard at that.
Amani has been listed as questionable in the last few availability reports. Where does he kind of stand in terms of next being available?
Yeah, we're trying to get Amani back 100%. The back thing, he came back, he started practicing, he played, and then all of a sudden it just went back. The back's a tricky thing. He was partially around yesterday in practice, but not doing anything live or full. And we'll see maybe if that expands a little bit today. We'll see. But yeah, we want to get him 100% because we don't want just back for a game and then out for another 5. We want this thing to be healed. Thank you.
Okay, just head down.